Hello and welcome to this tutorial on Adobe Animate CC in lip sync. Today I'm going to show you how to do lip sync through symbol swapping. The symbols we're going to be swapping are the phonemes for this character that I co-created as part of the Numbears series, and his name is Kid Koala, also known as Numbear 1. So we have audio for him. He's already animated in his walk cycle. We won't be doing the walk cycle for him. I have another tutorial where we're going to do a little bit more complicated walk cycle. First of all, let's go ahead and open up that file. It's koala_lip-sync_start.fla. Go ahead and open that up, and once you get there, it should default to 100%. Let's go ahead and make that fit in the window so we can see what we're doing a little bit better. And let's explore the way this file is set up. Okay, first of all, let's look up here in scene 1 and let's scrub through the file. You can see, first of all, I've got a layer where we're going to put the audio for the final render of it. And we have a layer with the head talking, and that's a nested symbol that's nested in the library there and has its own animation. So let's go into the library and open up the head folder, and you can see there's head talking, and you can see the thumbnail there. And then this one here is head talk and move, and that has the head going back and forth, bobbing, kind of a secondary animation. And we also have koala walk, so that is just the walk cycle without the head. And then we have the background, which you can see I have already put in there a motion tween with the background moving behind him. And you can see the motion path going straight across for this motion tween. Let's look over here in the library some more and go under arms, and you can see the left arm and right arm. Those are animated in the walk cycle. There's the background, and I have the movie clip, which is the one that I used for animating the background, and then we have a JPEG version of it as well, which we're not using. And we have the koala's body, and then we have the upper body, and so those are also nested. Here's the audio we're using. It's from the intro to the counting song, and if you select that and you go up here, you can see the waveform, and then you can play it.
Hi mates, I'm Kid Koala.
So that's what we're going to be working with for the lip sync. And then we go down here, open up, you can see the eyes and the eyebrows. We won't be doing anything with those. And then, as I showed you before, we have the head, and it has an animation going with it, and just the first couple of frames have some movement on them to get us started. And then we have the head talking, and again, those are nested, so let's look at that one. And you see we have the head talk and move, which has a motion tween here with a bunch of keyframes for the bobbing back and forth. That's the secondary animation with the walk cycle. Then you have the head talking symbol, and you can see that the head talk and move is nested in that as one of the layers. But you won't see that moving because it's a movie clip, and you can only see the movie clips move when nested when you publish it. So we'll get to that later. But you can see the audio file there is in the top layer, and then we have what's called the lip flap, and that's where we're going to be working today. And you can see as I scrub through that we have one phoneme and then another phoneme, third frame, and then in the sixth frame. So we're going to work through this. I'm going to get you started doing several of the symbol swaps for the lip sync, and it'll all be timed with the waveform, and you'll be working visually with that. So let's get started. First, let's zoom in on this so we get a better view and easier control of the individual frames. Let's bring Kid Koala in tighter. Zoom in to about 800. That should work. But before we go any further, I also want to show you a few of the other things in the library. So you have the koala walk, and again, that's just the walk cycle without the head. And then we have the legs. These are just a couple other mouth positions we're not using. And then we have the numeral 1, and then we have the phonemes. Now these are all there in the swap symbol window that we're going to be using. And notice that they all start with mouth and then have the phonetic description of each of the phonemes. So let's get started and add the next phoneme. Now if you scrub through, you'll see we start with this symbol with just a kind of a smile, toothy smile. And then at frame 3, he opens his mouth saying, "Hi, mates!" And then he goes to the position. So we need to figure out what is the next frame that we need to add a keyframe and then swap the symbol. So we scrub through, and then the next frame at 7, his mouth should be open. So we need to put a keyframe there at frame 7. Press F6. That adds the keyframe. And now we need to swap that because his mouth is going to be open. So just mouse over the line and you'll see next to the cursor you get that little north, south, east, west arrow. Right click, go down to swap symbol, and you can see there are all our choices in the thumbnails. You can see. So let's choose this first one, mouth and that's a pretty good position. If you want to position it any differently, you can use the arrow or click and drag it anywhere you want. But I think that's pretty good for that right about there. And so let's go on, and I'll take you through a few others. So we have the beginning of the t there. But let's leave his mouth open a little bit and go to the next one. That's frame 10. Click on that frame, F6, adding the keyframe, and go down to the symbol and right click on it and swap symbol. So we want something that'll give us the T sound. That looks good right here since it is S or T, and click on that. And there it is. So we got now this symbol here, I think we can move up a little bit. So let's select that and position it a little bit better. So we got hi mites, the first phrase, and let's go on. So right about there at the beginning of on Kid Koala. Let's get that right as it's starting on this one. That's frame 15. F6. Right click on the symbol. Swap symbol. So he's saying on Kid Koala. So we need something open. We already used that recently. How about mouth smile open? That's a good one. So let's select that. Okay, and there we are. So now it's on. Now notice at frame 17, for some reason the mouth jumps down there, and I've seen this before. It seems to have to do with a glitch in the update of the program. So we need to add a keyframe there anyway, and we're going to be changing it to the M sound. So F6, let's go down to it, swap symbol, and we want the M sound. So click on that, and that pops right back into place. So we don't need to really put a k sound there, although we could. I'm going to go ahead and do that just for practice. That's at frame 18, F6, right click, and let's look for something that would fit for the k. I would say the ST probably would work for that. Or we could do the smile. Let's try the smile. That looks good. On kid. Now we need his mouth open again, so add a keyframe there. Right click on it. Swap symbol. And let's have his mouth open for the kid koala. I like that. And for some reason it's gone over there again, but we'll just move it into place. Kid. So I'm going to give you one more, and then we'll put it there at frame 20, F6, and that'll be a D sound. So let's look and see which of these would make a good D sound. I think the L might work. Kid. The mouth is still slightly open. We could also use this one or this one. Let's use the L for this one. And back into position. A little glitchy, but that's okay. All right, I'll give you one more. We'll go into O for Kid Koala. There's our O. And there you go. Okay, so keep in mind there's F's, there's L's, there's T's, there's pretty much every sound that, and go all the way to the end. So it ends with "Oh, the great one."
The great one. The great one.
Now, shortcut for playing is press return. The shortcut for returning to the beginning is shift and comma. So here's what we have so far.
Hi mates, I'm Kid Koala.
Okay, so L will be the next sound for you. Before I let you go, I want to show you what it looks like in scene 1. So once we got that all done, then we go back to scene 1, and you have to make it fit in Windows so you can see it, and then you can play it. But there's no sound, is there? No, because what you have to do is once you've got all the lip sync done, in order to publish the final version, everything has to be in scene 1. So we need to add audio to scene 1 as well, even though we've already lip synced it. So select the audio layer and unlock it. Let's go down into the library and find the counting intro with music, and we simply click and drag it into the stage, and it will place itself in the audio layer. There it is.
Hi mates.
So you can see that's all synced up,
Hi mates.
identically to the way we're doing it in the nested version of the head talking. To publish it, command and return,
Hi mates.
and then you got your Swift there.
Most of his friends call me number one.
So it'll play all the way through,
Number one. Kid Koala.
and you've got the animation of the nested background moving.
But most of
So go ahead and finish all the lip sync. Remember, you have to go into the head talking nested symbol, and you'll finish all the rest of these on the lip flap layer. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you learned a lot and that you'll come back for future tutorials.